Hello there, everyone. Hopefully, you're doing outstanding. Today is July 30th, year 2022. Where in the world does time go to? I still remember being like 4 years old, 5 years old, etc., etc., etc. But anyway, I want to answer a question today. The question is, when is the perfect time to buy a rental house? So, do you know the answer? It's when is the perfect time to buy a rental house? Okay. But anyway, before I get started on that, remember, I am not a financial advisor. I am not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm nothing. I'm just Masky. I'm Masky. I am the guy who bought his first rental when he was 49 years old. And in just under 4 years, he had 25 units. He never made a lot of money in his life. Masky did not make a lot of money. Masky topped out at the very end of his career, making $52,000 a year. So how did Masky do this? If you don't know, check out my playlist. I have one on like 0 to 25 rentals in 4 years. There's, I think, a total of 4 videos. I don't know how to put it up there like some people say, oh, it's right up here. I don't know how to do that. So you just got to, if you're watching this, you're on my channel, click on playlist, find the playlist of 0 to 25 rentals in 4 years. And I give away the keys to the castle. There is enough information in those videos, I dare say, you don't need to watch another single video. But with that being said, please like my videos, click that thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free to share a video on some other platform. And since I am not monetized, you don't see any commercials coming across here, and I doubt I ever will get monetized, I usually put links in my description for Amazon. If you click on one of those links, you don't have to buy that. I got 5 books down there. You don't have to buy those 5 books, even though they are great books. If you're a real estate investor, I recommend all 5. But you don't have to buy them. But if you click on the link to open up Amazon and you buy something on Amazon, I will get a very small commission charge. I don't get much at all. So far, enough people have clicked where I think my stats show something like over $1,000 or $1,200 has been sold with products. And the last time I checked, it was a couple days ago, I'm getting a total of like $38 back. Okay, so it's a small percentage. Trust me, I'm not getting rich from that. But it's something. It's some way you can give back to Masky, because I'm sharing my information for free. I'm sharing how I did things for free. I'm trying to help you out, because when I look around society, most of society is suffering. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're struggling. They're scared of a pending recession because they may lose their job, and then where will they be? And so on and so on and so on. Times are getting tougher. And if you step back and you look at the big picture, high inflation, growth is slowing down. Like, we're potentially in a recession right now. Growth is slowing. Unemployment is still low. A lot of folks aren't working that could work. There's turmoil. There's controversy. The political parties are polarized, and they can't come together on almost nothing at all. And I've said on this channel before, I don't like either party. I'm not planning to vote in the next election. I'll just throw that out. I am not planning to vote in the next election unless something drastic changes, because it doesn't matter what side you like. They're both deranged. Every member of Congress needs to get out. We need new people in there. Every presidential candidate. If I hear a name come up of someone who's been a president already, we can't find new people. The system is broke. We need to fix the system. But anyway, I digress, don't I? I do that at times. When is the perfect time to buy a rental? Right now, we have interest rates going up. They're increasing. Housing prices have increased across the country. They've gone up. Rents across the country have gone up. Everything's expensive. Prices in stores are going up. My electric bill has gone up. It's gone up 50, 60, 70%. It's gone up. So, number one, how do we buy a rental? And number two, when's the perfect time to buy a rental? All right, you got to look around. If you watch my channel if you've watched it for any length of time, you've heard me mention something about, cash flow, at least $250 positive cash flow. That's kind of my criteria, but it also depends on how much money I'm spending. If I'm buying a property for $5 million and I only get $250 a month cash flow, that's not good. So I look at yield, and my yield, I don't really say too much on the channel, but I usually want a minimum of 12% from day one. I do have properties that are yielding pushing 40%. Okay, but at a minimum, I don't want to buy something at 5%. I'm not going to do it. It's not worth it to me. I want at least 12%. Okay, so what you got to learn how to do, and I'm going to answer the question, when is the perfect time to buy a rental, in just a minute. But what you got to do is you got to learn how to run your numbers. If you're potentially looking to buy a rental property, wherever your chosen market is, because you got to identify your chosen market, you need to get boots on the ground. You need a team. It doesn't matter if you're local or they're far away. You need a team to help you. But if you're buying a house for $100,000, you need to find out, what can that house rent for? Is it going to rent for $800? Is it going to rent for $1,500, $1,100? What potentially will that house rent for? You can call up property managers. You can look online, look at rents, various websites, and figure out what you think that will rent for based on what other people tell you. Look at how much work it needs to be done. If you're buying it for $100,000, can you get a mortgage? If you've never done it before, you probably can, as long as you work a job. You will have to put 20% down, or 25 even. And there are ways to get creative where maybe you don't need any money down, but we're not talking about that now. So we will assume you have to put 20 or 25% down. We'll just assume 20%. So 20% of $100,000 is $20,000. So if you have to spend $10,000 once you buy it to fix it up, to get it rent ready, you have roughly $30,000 all in. So you need to look at, all right, how much rent am I getting? Am I getting $1,200? All right, then you calculate, what is your mortgage? You can get online mortgage calculators and figure it out. What is your principal and interest based on whatever your lender is telling you they'll give you for an interest rate. And your lender can break this down for you. They'll tell you what your prospective principal and interest are based on the interest rate, et cetera, et cetera. But look at what your mortgage payment is. Get an estimate of what your insurance will cost you. Pull up your tax records online and see what taxes have been. Keep in mind, when you buy a property, if you're buying it for higher than the last time it was bought, maybe it hasn't been sold for 20 years. When they reassess properties, they're probably going to raise your taxes. So keep that in mind, okay? Because they're going to raise, it's not worth, we were taxing at $50,000, but it just sold for $100,000. So we'll tax at $100,000 or something like that. So you got to estimate insurance and taxes. And then you got to look at vacancies, repairs, and capital expenditures. Every rental unit will go vacant at some point. You still got to pay the mortgage. Every rental property will need a repair sometimes. The kitchen sink is leaking. Every rental property will need capital expenditures at some time. The roof needs to be replaced. The HVAC needs to be replaced. Windows need to be replaced, etc., etc., etc. You can come up with, based on the area, how much you want to hold out for those categories. Personally, I use about 20%, okay? My principal and interest, taxes, and insurance, and at 20%, I subtract that from the rent. I look at, are there other expenses? Am I required by the area I'm buying in, such as Chicago, to pay the water bill for the tenant? How much will the water bill run if I got to pay it? Say it's $100 a month. I got to subtract that $100. Do I have to cut grass or shovel snow for the tenant or for the property? If I do, I need to subtract those expenses. Whatever's left over is my positive cash flow. And I've said $250. I've thrown that out as a dollar figure for me, for properties I buy. And I typically buy properties for less than $100,000. Okay, so maybe like $50,000 or $60,000. So $250 is roughly what I want. Then you calculate, learn how to do math. If you don't know how to do math, I don't have a whiteboard. I'm not going to draw it out for you. Get a calculator. Look at how much money you spent. We said $30,000 all in. Now, $30,000 all in, but you got some closing costs on top of that. But for easy math, we'll keep it at $30,000. So if you got $30,000 you spent and you're making $250 a month, multiply 250 by 12 for a year, that will give you, $3,000, I think? I'm doing math up here. So if I'm getting $3,000 a month and I spent $30,000, I think that's 10%. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm not using a calculator or writing it down. I'm doing it all just off the top of my head. But I think that's a 10% yield, roughly, rounding it off. Is that good enough for you? I just said a little bit ago, I look for at least 12%. It's probably not good enough for me. I'd want a better deal. So when is the perfect time to buy a rental house? Because that's what I'm talking about, right? And I haven't given that answer yet, so I'm going to give that answer. The perfect time to buy a rental property is when you can find a deal that meets your standards. It could be when interest rates are 10%. It could be when interest rates are 2%. It could be for a property that's $150,000. It could be for a property that's $45,000. Okay? You have to learn how to run the numbers. You have to know what is a good deal for your criteria. Don't copy mazske. I say $250, 12% yield, but who am I? Who am I? Okay, I am living off my investments though. So maybe I'm successful, maybe I'm not. Who am I? I might go bankrupt next month. Who knows? So don't copy me. All right? So with that being said, figure out what is a great deal for you. All right? If it's your first property ever, well, sometimes you just got to jump in. Don't overanalyze it. Don't be like an engineer and think. Sometimes that's what I do. I just jump in. And I look at it, I'll sink or I swim. That's what I did with my first rental property. I'll sink or I swim. That's what I do. I'm not telling you to do that, but for some of us, we need to just jump in. And you don't want to lose money. But if your very first rental property, say it comes out, you're positive cash flowing $219 a month. And that's the best you can find. I'm not telling you to buy it, but maybe it's okay. Because maybe you're underestimating rent and it could be higher. But what about if you're overestimating rent and it's actually going to be lower? So do your due diligence to get a very good idea of what the prospective rent can be. Run your numbers. You don't have to be a math expert. It's very basic math. Okay, get a calculator, do pencil and paper, whatever, do it up here. Don't just do it up here because you might make a mistake and you can't see it per se. Okay, but sometimes you just got to do it. You got to pull the trigger. I've known people that they spin their wheels. A year goes by, a year and a half goes by, 2 years go by, and they don't buy one. They don't really want it if they don't buy it. Sometimes you just got to do it. You got to do it. All right? You got people like me out here on YouTube that if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. If you comment on my videos, I'm going to answer it. I'm not ever telling anybody what to do. I'm giving advice on what I would do. Okay? I have done a couple live stream videos. I'm planning to do another one. I think next Wednesday. That's August the 3rd. Something else happening that day. What is happening that day? Something's happening that day, but if I do one, it's going to be at 7 o'clock in the evening. All right, if I can make it work, I will. You can hear me ask a question. Ask me a question live, and I will answer it like I do now. I will ramble, but I will answer the question from my perspective of what I would do, okay? I don't know you. I can't give you personal advice of what you should do. You got to do it yourself. Find some local mentors that can help you. Go to some local real estate meetup groups, but be careful because a lot of the people at these groups might be just like you, but they're, oh, I got one rental house. I know what I'm doing. And they might not be the best mentor for you. They might lose that rental house in 6 months. So be careful. Okay, a lot of people are full of bravado. They're cocky. They talk the big talk. They act like they carry the big stick. They wear the big hat, but there's no substance behind them. Okay? So if you look at YouTube, there's different YouTube channels you can watch. And if you meet somebody like me, I am a blue-collar guy, topped out making $52,000 a year. I didn't buy my first rental property until I was 49 years old. I had married. I had 2 kids. I lived for 20-some years in an old 1955 house that I didn't use the furnace in it for the first 10 years, and this was in Virginia, because I didn't have enough money. I used electric radiator style heaters to heat my house in the wintertime. Okay? I did what I had to do to survive, but I was frugal. I invested in stocks. I studied. I learned. And when the time was right for me, like when I thought about it, at 49 years of age, I bought my first rental house. So if you're 29, don't kick yourself too hard if you're just struggling, because you still got 20 years on me. So if I can do it at 49, you can do it. If not at 29, maybe when you're 30. But the perfect time to buy a rental house is when you can identify a house that will positive cash flow and give you a good yield that meets your criteria in an area you want it to be. And you're accounting for all expenses, including, I think I forgot to mention this, if you have to use a property manager, figure out what they charge. Do they charge 10%? Do they charge 8%, 9%, 11%? Subtract that as well. So to recap real quick, subtract all expenses, vacancies, repairs, capital expenditures, water bill, snow shoveling, grass cutting, property manager, principal and interest with your mortgage, principal and interest and, it's your mortgage payment. So, and any other expense you might have, you subtract it. Whatever's left is your positive cash flow. And if you don't have positive cash flow left, it's not a good deal. All right. So the perfect time to buy a rental is when you can find a good deal. And good deals are out there today. They were out there 2 years ago. They will be out there 2 years from now. There's always a good deal out there somewhere. It's up to us as investors to find it. All right. Good enough? This got long. I'm going to wrap this up. Y'all take care. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click that thumbs up and comment if you can. And stop by next Wednesday, 7 p.m. I'll try to do a live stream. All right? Good enough. Stay safe in all you do. Mazske is signing out.